Well, hello, hello, and welcome to the Lockhart Radio Podcast. I am your host, Felicia Lockhart. And today we're looking at a couple of stories that everybody's been tossing around. We've also covered it here. So we're looking at the Venezuelan gangs of Colorado or the alleged situations dealing with, apartments being taken over. We're also looking today at the Haitian issue in Ohio, as well as so much more. This is a very laid back conversation today, nothing very, strict or anything like that. I want to welcome each and every one of you all for joining us, and we're just really going to get right into it because I think that here's the deal. Here's the way that I feel about both of these topics, as well as some of the other things that we're going to be dealing with today. The way that I feel is, if none of these things were true, what makes it so hard is the fact that people are doubling down with their attempt to tell us that it's not true. And it's that bothers me the most. Welcome to everybody here. Please make sure that you hit that like button. Make sure that you subscribe if you're not a subscriber, because today's podcast is definitely to get subscribers to join us. We find a lot of awesome people who watch the program, but we'd like to extend the opportunity today for you to become a subscribed member of the channel. Now, we are looking, first of all, the first situation that I do want to look at is Colorado. Because to me, there's a lot of things that have been said publicly that open themselves up to be scrutinized, that allow us to be able to dig a little deeper based on what's said. But first, what we're going to do in both topics is we're going to get to know the players of the game, right? We're going to get to know who the governor is, and we're going to get to know what he said. We're going to look at some of the news articles, and then we're going to move on to the next article. But the purpose of making sure that we clarified it is because it's important to know those individuals who claim much ado about nothing. That's what they're saying, that this is just a bunch of schemes that somebody else has thought of, and it has nothing to do with what the reality is that they've now painted for us. I wonder what would happen if they just didn't say anything and they allowed the truth to reign. Would they be able to glean more followers for their up and coming campaign, or would they just falter? You'll never know, because we need to know today what the truth is. We'll be right back. Hey everyone, it's me, Felicia, of the Lockhart Perspective and Headlines with a Voice. I want to tell you a little secret. This is what I used to do, because I don't do it anymore. I would go to the store, buy the barbecue sauce, pour it inside of a bowl, put a whole bunch of different spices, a dash of brown sugar, a dash of maple, and a dash of mustard, stir it all around, and everybody would be like, oh my gosh, this is the best, this is the best. But I was exhausted after all of that, and a lot of times I couldn't remember how many dashes of what I put in it. But I don't have to do that anymore, because now I just go to Judge Joe Brown's website and I order his 3-pack of bottled barbecue sauce. It is by far the best, and I do mean the best barbecue sauce I've ever eaten. And when you go to his website and you order his 3-pack, you'll see exactly what I mean. Head on over to jjbbbbq.com and order Judge Joe Brown's barbecue sauce. You'll be glad you did, and you're going to tell me about it. I know you will. All right, welcome back. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to get to know the governor. We're going to get to know the governor's spouse of Colorado. We're going to get to know everything that we need to know, because I really feel that it's important to know those individuals so that way you can get exactly where they're coming from. By knowing a person, by knowing their family, by knowing who they are, or at least getting a glimpse of who they are, it helps you understand the validity of the things they say. It also helps you to see whether or not you can gauge any truth based on some of the things that they say or believe. So the first thing that we're going to do right now is we're going to take a gander. We're going to take a look at, well, first of all, let me say this. I really want to deal with this because I believe that each and every situation that we're looking at right now is dealing with one specific topic: greed. How is it dealing with greed, Felicia? Well, greed is selfish desire of food, money, possessions over and above one's needs. Now, we can look all the way back to the empires of places like Rome, We can look at all of those other empires and we can see that there have been a lot of situations where greed has caused individuals to want to take power. So greed and power go hand in hand. Lies go with those things. So let's get into this. I want you guys to take a look at the first article. First article, then we're going to take a look at the cat who said it. All right. So this is the governor of Colorado. Let's make this a little larger. Actually, let me do this because I don't even want to see all the other ads. So the Colorado governor, Jared Polis, dismisses migrant gang takeover of apartments as imagination, despite the mayor confirming the truth. Make sure y'all can read this because I don't see you as being able to. There you go. Right there. Now, that's the butter. That's the butter, baby. Okay, now you got it. And despite the mayor confirming the truth, Colorado Governor Jared Polis dismissed anger. He dismissed anger over the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua taking over an apartment there in Denver suburb of Aurora, calling it imagination, despite video footage of the police and police reports showing that it did in fact happen. Polo's press office offered the snarky statement on a Wednesday night in response to the Aurora City Councilwoman Danielle Jurinsky, who told the Post the gang's takeover are tied to his policies. Quote, the governor has already let the mayor know that the state is ready to support the local police department with assistance from state troopers and the Colorado Bureau of Investigation if needed. This came from Shelby Wyman, a spokesperson for the Democratic governor. This is what they told the Post. And this is the nice gentleman who is their governor. It goes on to say, but according to the police intelligence, this purported invasion is largely a feature of Danielle Jurinsky's imagination. Let's scroll all the way down past this stuff because whenever you do this, you got to get past all this. All right. Now, Wyman added that it's illegal to take over buildings in Colorado. Well, I would imagine that the people from Venezuela want to follow the law. They don't want to just take over buildings in Colorado because it's illegal. And if Jurinsky has knowledge of such activity, the governor's office is ready to assist in taking them back. Violent crime dropped in Aurora between 2022 and 2023, said Wyman. Despite the governor's claims, however, the evidence is clear. On the Wednesday night that this particular surveillance video aired that showed an armed gang of men, later confirmed by cops as suspected members of Tren de Aragua, strolling through an apartment complex in Aurora that residents said had been overrun by the gang. 3 of the men could be seen carrying handguns, while another held a rifle as they entered the troubled apartment complex, breaking into a unit shortly before a shootout took place at the complex that left one person severely injured. Now, how did that person get injured? They just heard the governor say this wasn't real. How did that happen? Something's got to be awry. Something's got to be afoot. Further, Aurora Mayor Mike Kaufman told Fox News on Thursday that there are several buildings that have fallen to these Venezuelan gangs in his city. Kaufman said that he believes the buildings were used as taxpayer-funded migrant housing. He believes. How does he have any truth of that? More than likely, what he's saying that he believes, he knows is not true. Could it be that these particular buildings are actual places where people like you and I get up and go to work every day live? Could it be? Well, nobody seems to have any of the truth. Nobody's able to actually pinpoint what's real and what's not. And so the question, could it be, I believe is fair, don't you? It says that it could have been. Kaufman believes the buildings were used as tax-funded migrant housing, which is what gave the gangs a foothold. Now, here's the question. Wouldn't he know? He's the mayor. Why wouldn't he? And if he doesn't, somebody needs to look at this cat. Now, Denver is a sanctuary city that is just west of Aurora, and it has received more migrants per capita than any city in the country. most of them from Venezuela. More than 40,000 migrants have arrived since December of 2022. The Post asked Polis' office if he intends to backtrack its statement, giving the piles of evidence of Tren de Argua's takeover, to which Wyman, the governor, and said of the governor, really hopes that the city council members in charge stop trashing their own city when they're supposed to keep it safe. How dare the city council members listen to those individuals coming into those city council meetings and reverberating what's been said to them? How dare they do that? They need to stop it, I tell you, because all of that gossip is not good. They need to stop because they just heard Governor Polis say all the way up there from the governor's mansion where he lives, very far removed from Aurora, that it ain't true. Stop it, I say. Says over the last month, Governor Polis has been in regular contact with the city of Aurora and the Aurora Police Department and has offered all the state assistance to support their efforts if requested, she said, adding that they expect violent crime to continue to decrease. We're looking for this to go away. There is no reason to believe that all of those Venezuelan gangs or people who were released and brought into the United States from Venezuela are causing any problem, and they need to stop those lies. The Post exposed the gang's takeover of apartments in Aurora and identified the area's shot caller, Jehoni Jose Pacheco Chirino, who is known as Galetta or Cookie in English. Pacheco Chirino, alongside his fellow gangsters, brutally beat a man at an apartment complex in Aurora. He was later arrested and then let go on bail. What does this say? She blank, it looks like she and such were walking back to their apartment, 420, from apartment 319, where they were drinking, got into an argument with a group, approximately 7 males. The males were claiming that they run this place. One of them hit the gentleman over the head with a Corona beer bottle. This caused blank to fall to the ground. Several members of the group began assaulting him while he was on the ground. The group fled when she yelled her intent to call the police. Policia, policia, I'm going to call them. And they took off running, allegedly. Now, we know we can't believe this. These American citizens, they were telling falsehoods on these Venezuelan people. That's what you need to know. The apartment investor told the Post that the migrant gangs have taken over the units. Now, why would those apartment investors say such a thing? They just heard what the governor said. And here they are saying that they've taken over their units. So what are the owners, what are the investors going to do with the property if said statements were true? What are they going to do? If said statements are true, what's being done to help? I wonder. Let's move on. During the assault, a witness said that Pacheco Chirino and his accomplices were a part of the gang that steals from Walmart and claimed they run the apartment, according to an affidavit that was obtained by the Post. One witness said that she was afraid to talk much because of the dangerous people living in the complex. Now, she's living in the complex. Let's go back to what the mayor said. It was probably a place that could have been given over for them to stay in, which means that, like the hotels that are in New York, it would have had to have been cleared out, right? It couldn't have had a body of individuals living in it because, like they did in New York, they cleared out those New York hotels and prevented anybody from renting or staying. If you wanted to go to New York during the last couple of years, that they've taken those big high rises and given them over to the migrants to have places for shelter, you weren't able to go on one of these websites and just book a stay because they were at capacity with these individuals so why would this lady be able to stay there if that were the case? Yeah. The apartment investor told the Post that they've lost control of several properties because the gangs have taken over their units. Undoubtedly, those investors are more than likely people who were not a part of the United States property takeover from overseas investors. How much you want to bet? How much you want to bet that when these individuals decided, and we're just guessing, it's a Saturday, and remember, this is not formal, we're just chilling. But how much do you want to bet that these individuals are some of those investors who did not come in and take part of the whole blackout purchasing of all of the houses and apartment complexes? Because apparently they still had regular citizens living there. The article goes on to say they were first hanging out around the property and creating a bad element that's constantly there. And then they started taking over. Quite a few months ago, they started taking over vacant units. So this is completely diametrically opposed to what the mayor said. In July, Pachio Chirino was arrested for a shooting in the same complex where 2 men were wounded. Who's this cat? The Venezuelan gang Tres de Agua have been intimidating and extorting residents of apartments in Aurora. This is their photo from Colorado. Looks like KDVR. Okay. All the while, Polis has embraced sanctuary policies for Colorado. In recent months, the governor signed legislation to support their new lives in the state by making it easier for them to obtain driver's license, attend school, and obtain taxpayer-funded resources. When the influx of migrants became too much, Polis made the decision to start busing them to New York City in 2023 through a program that has since ended. Still, many stayed and some moved to nearby Aurora, which has a population of 390,000 people, where apartments are now under the gang's control. Let's look. See here. People moving in and out. It's been a nightmare, and I can't wait to get out of here. Apartment resident Cindy Romero told Fox Denver she's moved out of the building with her husband. For years, the gang, which hails from Venezuela's Aragua region, has been sending its members across the U.S.-Mexico border. It's also expanded recruitment within the United States among migrant communities, mainly in New York, Denver, and Chicago. The gang was recently designated as a transitional criminal organization by the Biden administration. Isn't that rich? Isn't it rich? Isn't it grand?